This is me. I lived in Wuhan, China since I was born. In January 2020, there were already rumors that a new type of virus was spreading in Wuhan. People were on edge, but the government had no initiatives. I then decided to travel to Hainan, a tropical island in the southernmost part of China, just in time to avoid the virus. When I walked to the reception desk to check in, the woman looked at the permanent residence on my ID card and frowned. I couldn't help but feel a pound of weakness, but I tried my best to maintain a smile. To my delight, she let me in. The next morning, I was doing trip planning when there was a knock on the door. The woman informed me that just last night, Wuhan was locked down. The army came into control, and no one was allowed to live there anymore. As for visitors from Wuhan, they were welcomed with a week of quarantine at their hotels. My eyes widened. Misfortune still struck. Finally, I made it through 7 days. I was so anxious then that I lay in bed with my phone all day long. Various news reports about the virus were filled with comments from people cursing those who had left Wuhan before the lockdown, accusing them of bringing the virus to the whole country and putting people in other cities at risk of infection. The obscenities were unbearable to watch, so I went to the balcony to call my parents and asked if they were still safe in Wuhan. Their answers comforted me a bit. Coincidentally, the resident next to me was also resting on the balcony. When she heard my phone call, she grasped the balcony railing, poked her body out, looked towards me in horror, and immediately shrank back like she had seen a ghost. She called the waitress and asked her to kick me out of the hotel. But she comes from Wuhan! Wuhan! Yes, I understand. She has already done her quarantine. Never mind, I'll change my room. I can even change a hotel if that's what you wish. I went back to my bed, avoided listening to their quarrel, but still not relieved. Right at this moment, I noticed a set of pictures posted by my classmate, Shuchi. Sunshine, palm trees, sea waves. She also came to Hainan from Wuhan. We must have the same feelings and a lot to talk about. I invited her for dinner, and she immediately accepted. I guess Shuchi, same to me, was browsing the pandemic news tensely all the time. I then took the first proper shower for the whole week. We met at the beach. Shuchi was in a long dress fluttering in the wind, and her hair was soft and lustrous. To my surprise, she didn't seem bothered by the pandemic at all. I told her I was so scared and upset to be the target. People hated travelers from Wuhan. They hated us. However, she asked me, naively and even curiously, "Us? What do you mean, us?" She told me she was born in Hainan. She came here to visit her family and was now living in her uncle's house, meaning she was entirely accepted and involved. This was so unfair. I knew she had moved to Wuhan even before primary school. When Wuhan was safe, she was proud to call herself a big city girl, but now she refused to have any relation to it. We went to a grill on the beach. The owner sensitively asked us if we were locals. I was about to speak, but Shuchi shushed me at once. She cleared her throat, used the Minnan dialect she had already prepared, and told me we were. It is a dialect used for the locals. The owner beamed with joy. She ordered loads of shrimps and crabs and elegantly put the menu on the table. I said sorrily, "I'm allergic to shrimp." It must be difficult for a person who lives in Hainan to be allergic to shrimps, the owner joked. "Well, I like shrimps. I can pay for them myself." Shuchi sophisticatedly ordered a few shrimps by name. He cheerfully said, "Now this is our Hainan girl." After he left, her smile was taken place by fury. She leaned to me. "You can expose yourself, but you're not going to drag me into it." While eating, I told her I had been discriminated against everywhere since I came to Hainan. I should have stayed in Wuhan. It was better to suffer than to be a virus, and I felt uneasy because it seemed like I betrayed Wuhan and escaped. "Can you stop talking about Wuhan? Can't you see how annoyed I am?" she howled. "Have you finished? I'm ready to leave now." We walked to the road and called a taxi to send her home. On the way, I asked why she was so irritated. The question soon led to a quarrel. The driver caught the word Wuhan and immediately pulled over his car. You just said you came from Wuhan a week ago. She came from Wuhan. Shuchi hurriedly distanced herself from me, using her Minnan dialect. I was born here, in Hainan. I don't care where you were born. You come from Wuhan, you are the virus. There is no difference for me. Both of you, get out of my car. This is impossible, I yelled. We're safe. We've finished the quarantine. You have not. The government says the quarantine period increases to a fortnight. I've got proof. I believe none of your bullshit. I looked into his eyes briefly, only to see him taking out a piece of paper. Holy shit, he did have one. It read exactly the same as what just came out of his stinking mouth. You can pretend you don't know, I spoke with difficulty, holding on to my last shred of hope. Why should I? It's not like I like you people fucking us around. Now if you don't get off, I'll call the police. Shuchi and I had no choice but got off. We walked along the beach. The loudspeaker dressed up as a rock was playing music on the roadside. The waves lapped at our feet in bursts. The lights in the distance connected in the darkness. Will you accompany me home? Shuchi cried. And I agreed. We didn't say anything during the walk. When we arrived at her house, I felt happy for her because everything's over now and she would be welcomed by her family. She knocked on the door. It soon proved I was wrong. Someone came to see through the people and then hurriedly backed off. After a while, a man opened the door. He quickly pressed a mask to his face, which he had just fetched before opening the door for us, in case of getting infected. His little eyes were full of defensiveness. A woman was hiding behind, looking at us resentfully. Where's your mask? You're still a potential threat. We have to live in fear for 1 more week because of you. Pretending to be deaf and oblivious, Shuchi greeted her aunt and uncle and walked in, with her head held high, without looking around. Shuchi, I called her, and gave her a big hug. Shuchi lived in her own family's exclusion all the time, which was why she tried so hard to prove she was part of them and had integrated. I can understand why she denied her identity, but more importantly, I think we should embrace who we are, always support each other in hard times, and overcome the difficulty hand in hand.